Well, cheers.
Cheers, Susie.
Here is to the rhythm of the vineyard. I'm here with Chris Bowland, and we're excited about toasting Russian River Valley
Yes.
and this beautiful spring day. Here with Betsy, our color host.
Hello.
She can tell the difference between white and red, so she's very invaluable here.
That's right.
That's
so
awesome.
I know.
Very knowledgeable.
So the name of this happy hour is Rhythm of the Vineyard, and I will give you a little bit of a history about Chris Bowland. Chris, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the premier vineyard managers in Russian River Valley. That Chris has worked very hard to get where he is today. He currently manages how many acres in Russian River?
That's 600 in Russian River, about 500, about 650, 680 altogether.
Well, and they include some very prestigious clients, such as William Selliam, Costa Brown.
Tumal, Carlisle. We sell a few grapes to Costa Brown. But
And of course Selby.
well, the most prestigious of them all is the Pinot Noir from the Caligari vineyard that comes to Susie.
So I have some other interesting things to say about Chris. He came from, a humble background in that you got your degree in viticulture, correct?
Ag business at Cal Poly.
And what was your first job?
My first two jobs stink. I wanted to save the world and grow organic vegetables, and so I worked for people that wanted to start farms. It turned out they didn't have any money, and they stopped paying me, so I had to find another job. But my best job early in my career was working for Rich and Sarah Lee Cundy at the Farmery back when that was a vegetable place on the corner of River and Fulton. It's a church now and a vineyard, but...
And just to interrupt you for a moment, Rich and Sarah Lee Cundy are two of the most influential people in Sonoma County as it pertains to viticulture.
Absolutely.
Plus, they're kind, wonderful people.
Yeah, I always thought that Sarah Lee was one of the runners-up for the Robert Mondavi of Sonoma County.
Yeah, they're pretty
I wish
awesome.
she was still around. Sarah Lee, here's to you. And
I'll toast to that.
it was a pleasure to work there, pleasure to work for her and Rich. I started in vegetables, and then when they decided that the grape thing kind of made a little bit more money than vegetables, Rich brought me over to the grape side, and that's how I got interested in viticulture and grape growing.
So Chris is also one of the only vineyard managers who pursued being very fluent in Spanish. And I think that's been a huge advantage because you've been able to, you not only communicate with the guys as far as directing their work, but you're, they considered you like a father figure or a brother, and
Brother, I'll go with
there's a lot of
brother.
No, there's a lot of respect there. I mean, it's
Well, I've
wonderful.
always felt like if you're going to manage people, you ought to be able to speak their language. I mean, whether you're here or somewhere other country. And it always baffled me that people would manage Hispanic workers and not be able to speak the language. And so, yeah, I worked really hard at that. And I had tutors early on in my life, which was great. Told me all the dirty words and what they all meant and what to say and what not to say.
Dirty words,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
right. So you know if they're talking about you?
You know, if they're talking about you and what they're saying about you, more importantly. So,
Exactly.
We should play fun facts.
Fun facts?
Yeah, fun facts about Susie and Chris.
Ooh. Wow.
So first fun fact.
Wait a minute. I'm
Careful there, big boy.
No, fun fact.
Wow, I don't know about
This
this.
is a family show.
It's a
So
family
first,
show.
can I share a fun fact?
Sure.
So fun fact about Chris is this is work Chris. This is fun Chris.
Ah.
So that fun fact number one. So fun Chris is going to be here. So we can talk about work. But
Well,
we're gonna
and
have
now
fun.
that Fun Chris is here, maybe
Yes.
we should talk about why this is called Rhythm of the Vineyard.
Well, there was this lonely rock and roll band called Vertical Flight that was looking for a backup
Once
drummer.
upon a time.
And this really, really world famous drummer called Susie Sticks asked me to be her backup drummer, and history
Yes,
was never
this
the
is
same.
true. The story is true. The legend is true. I had something. I was in the band.
Nice
there we
cowbell.
go.
Yeah, I know. Here you have it.
Back when we're rich and famous from making rock and roll records, we're gonna look back on this.
That's right.
and-
So please note that I, of course, am the head drummer. I'm on the cowbell. Chris, the backup drummer, is on the big drum set. What does that tell you? Does it tell you that perhaps I'm such a humble person that I will just
You'll just
make
give up the
sure
set.
that you get the center of attention?
Exactly.
Please note that they were in Susie's wine library.
Yeah, we're in the wine. Well, and also
Practicing.
please note that our saxophone player is sitting here as well.
That's me.
Clarence.
Thank you.
So yes, I fortunately found a backup drummer who was a lot better than me.
Oh, I don't know.
Only
had a lot
on-
of fun.
Only on a couple of songs.
Just one or
Only
two.
on a couple, yeah. So,
But it's fun, we get- we-
once the backup, always the backup.
Hey, it's okay. I'll take second billing any day. But yeah, we play in Susie's backup cellar or backup wine cellar or storage
Yeah.
area.
Yeah, it's in the wine library.
Wine library, sorry.
We started out by the rule was that we could only enjoy wines from the wine library, which we've stuck to, but we've expanded, and there's a little tequila in there now. So
Yeah.
we have other things to enjoy.
Thanks to Adam.
Yes.
Yeah, you pretty much
Oh.
crack a bottle. If it's still good, then we drink it.
Well, and let's not forget our star, the star of our show.
Yes.
Also our producer, Michael Deloche.
Yes. Who? Thank you, Michael, for wardrobing me out today. This is a official Michael Deloach shirt that I'm wearing. He has awesome taste. He also has awesome taste in women because Lori, his wife, actually picked this out for him, probably. So I've adopted her as my own personal shopper.
So
Which
another
is
fun
awesome.
fact about Chris.
Fun fact, hey, when you get a personal shopper, you just grab on and don't let go.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's called stalking.
Well, it's not stalking if it's desired.
Yeah. So, back to vineyard management.
Back to Vineyard management. Okay, wait, should I turn my hat back around? again?
Yes, you have to turn your hat, however your hat wants to be. I think something interesting that most people who are watching this don't know is that although it seems like it's very easy for vineyard managers and winemakers to maintain a close professional relationship, it can be a little bit stressful during harvest.
It'd be stressful right now. Forget harvest. Yes.
And basically what happens is that now I don't own my own vineyards, and so I count on Chris and other vineyard managers. We work well together, but it can be really challenging because let's say rain is coming. Sometimes outside factors make it better if the grapes are picked sooner for one or more of the parties, when at the same time for one or more of the parties it's not. So
What you're saying is when finicky winemakers make us pick early.
Chris, you ignorant slut.
Let's just say that it's a negotiated,
Yeah.
stressful time.
It's surprising how much happens. It's easy to picture us. Usually we're skipping arm in arm, going down the rows, trying to decide what's going to happen during harvest. But truly, it's tough between winemakers and growers.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we grow grapes for just in my particular area for about 40 different wineries, and Atlas Vineyard Management in general, it's over 150, and those 150 probably have 30 or 40 vineyard managers that they have to work with. So we have to work with 150 people. They have to manage 50 or whatever of us. So it's a big shell game, trying to fit everything in and get everything and make everyone happy.
Well, but you have a sort of a double whammy, if you will, in that not only are you managing everybody else's vineyards, but you're also managing your own property.
Yeah, I have a little vineyard over on Barnes Road where we grow Italian white, really obscure, weird named white Italian varietals. So yeah, I am a true farmer in that sense.
What are the names?
Well, the most obnoxious one is Robola Gialla, which is it's a very, very well-known grape in Italy, but not very much so here.
It's also the smallest bone in your right hand.
Is that true? Or are you just making that up?
I'm just making it up.
Okay. So Ribolla Gialla, we grow Greco di Tufa, Tokai Friulano, a little bit of Pinot Gris, and what am I missing? That's it. So yeah, I mean, it was a fluke.
And was it a passion? Did you plant those grapes because you were excited about them?
No, which was the weirdest thing. I experimented with 2 rows of Ribolla Gialla. People got all excited about it. A couple winemakers started making the wine, and then 2 rows became 4, became 8, to become like an acre and a half or 2. It's probably on the crop report somewhere, like the only Ribolla Gialla
it'll
grower
be on the
in-
crop report.
Yeah,
We have a question from Lori in Healdsburg. She wants to know if you sell any of those Italian varietal grapes to the Orsies.
No, we don't. We do sell to Enrico Bertos at Arby Garby Winery. We do sell, most of the grapes go to my buddy Dan over at Massican, and he blends the Ribolla and the Greco and the Tokai, not together, but in various blends. He and his wife own a brand called Massican. He's the winemaker over at Larkmead, but he does Italian whites for fun. And then we've had a number of family winemakers make grapes from our wine. We also grow Fiano, and my buddy Anthony
I love Fiano.
over at Boleto, he and his wife own a brand called Crues, and they make the Fiano. So yeah, they're all unusual, small lot, small home kind of family winemakers. So I only have about 5 acres, so it's not a big property.
Well, and speaking of Chris's Vineyard, one thing that people forget about, we're always happy out here in wine country and things are seemingly going well, but Chris was very fortunate because the fires of 2017 came very, very close to
Yeah,
your
within
property.
100 feet. Yeah, absolutely.
And it would have been devastating, and it was such a devastating event for 5,000 structures in Sonoma County.
Yeah, I live about a mile from
Thank
Coffee Park.
goodness.
Yeah. Well, I can thank my buddy Rob, my buddy Rob and his neighbor that live about maybe 300 yards from my house, literally fought the fire with a water tank in the back of their truck, putting out fires in structures and in grass, sucking water out of pools and things like that. So thank God for Rob and his neighbor that saved our neighborhood.
Well, and one of the sort of games we like to play in Sonoma County sometimes is, what did you pack during the fire? Because I swear, what we packed, you really got an idea of what mattered. And for so many people, as they were packing in case of an evacuation, there's a realization that so few things in your life really mattered.
Absolutely.
Materialism sort of got put aside, and sadly, we both know quite a few people who lost their homes, but we've been resilient in Sonoma County.
Yeah, and Coffee Park is pretty much up and running now completely.
Yeah, and we've had a good attitude, and
yeah, no, it brings people together. It really has. Yeah.
we do, and even with COVID-19, we're a community that comes together, even though we have to stay apart.
I know.
We
6
still are
feet
following
now.
the rules and doing all of those things. What did you pack, Betsy?
I packed 4 cats and a dog.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I'm sorry, and one of them was
And
mine.
I think a case of wine.
That's funny. Everybody packed wine. Everybody packed alcohol.
Yeah.
We really encourage that culture here in Sonoma County.
It was funny. I felt really guilty because when I got to my house, people had already evacuated, and I had to sneak in a back way and run across
Now
railroad
he had
tracks.
to sneak in because the National Guard was.
Yeah, pretty much all the roads were roadblocked, so I had to. Sorry, any law enforcement professionals, but I ran a road. I ran around
The
a roadblock.
statute of limitations is
That's
up. You're
right,
fine.
yes. So I went into the backside of my property and ran in, and I grabbed a duffel bag of clothes. But what I felt the most guilty about, but I was really happy later, was a client had sent me a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle,
Ooh,
and it was on my
nice.
coffee table. I just unwrapped it out of the mail that day, and so as I was running by, I was like, "Oh, I'm grabbing that," and that went in the duffel bag. So
Do you
yeah.
still have it?
No, we pretty much dusted that bad boy off.
Say sharing is caring.
I know.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Thanks,
That's
Tom, by the
true.
way.
That's funny. So, so how long have you been a vineyard manager now?
I just completed my 20th vintage last year. So I started working for our mutual friend Doug in 1999 of Lloyd Vineyard Management. And so last year, I think, if I count right, I always forget how to count like that, but I think it was 20 years.
So tell me what your, what's the daily life of a vineyard manager like?
It depends on the season. I mean, we follow the seasons just like any other farmer does. It's, I guess the easiest way to describe it is it's a lifestyle. So I'm never really off. I mean, I'm off on Sundays. I'm kind of religious about not taking phone calls from people on Sunday. Mostly just because I need to turn my brain off. But
It's good. Your religion on Sunday is not taking phone calls. I
that's
like
right,
that.
that's
Everybody
right.
should have a Sunday
and cocktail
religion.
hour at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
It becomes a lifestyle. I mean, I kind of patterned my business that way early on. I became friends with a lot of our clients, and so I hang out like you and I hang out, winery clients as well as vineyard clients. But my day starts probably about 4:30. My crew starts at 6, and they go to 3:30, and I end my day about 5. During frost season.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up. Frost season is a whole different deal.
That's pretty much 24/7. If we need to turn on either the irrigation, the frost protection or fans, those go on anywhere from, this year we had to turn on at 10 o'clock a couple times at night. And so I don't actually go out in the vineyard and do that, but I have to direct the guys and gals that do that for me.
So basically what happens is that Chris is in charge, and so he'll get a call on his phone, correct? And it's a serious situation if an entire crop could freeze.
Yeah.
And
well, look, there I am turning on the fan right there.
part of it is making sure, that's right, part of it is making sure that the fans are operating properly. Now, there are 2 ways to mitigate frost. We
Right.
talked about that once in a video.
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
Water's the primary way. It's the most secure and protects the vineyard to a lower temperature. What you just saw was me turning on a wind machine. And in situations where it's appropriate, you use the wind machine to suck warmer air that's trapped above the vineyard and mix it with the cold air that settles into the vineyard so that it doesn't freeze. This year was unusual. One of our worst frost events this year was one where they didn't have what we call an inversion layer, so there was no difference in the temperature way up high than down low.
Oh, so that was just a odd microclimate
Well, yeah,
situation?
It's a little bit bigger than micro, but it's a cold air mass. Usually they come down from Alaska, and so it's just a mile thick blanket of cold air that comes in. And when that happens, wind machines don't work very well because there's no differential in the temperature. So it's cold up top and cold down at the bottom.
How often does that happen?
Very rarely.
Wow, like once every...
So the last time I saw that was 2008.
Wow.
So
I didn't know that.
yeah,
That's
so
fascinating.
in that case, and so you saw that vineyard where I was, showing the wind machine. That vineyard also has water for frost protection. So we turned the sprinklers on that night.
Well, and tell me, there's the prettiest sight one will ever see in a vineyard is when it's completely frozen. And of course, the freezing protects the berries from frost.
Yeah, isn't it
Which
weird?
is odd. They have a blanket. It's like, actually, it's the same concept, I think, as
Igloos?
igloos.
Yeah.
Igloos. Sorry, I went to cooler right away because I drink so much. Yeah, wait, that is a thing, not a cooler. Yeah, it's like igloos. It keeps you warm inside.
Yeah, the scientific principle, the thermodynamics principle, is that as long as you keep water running or sprinkling on an icicle or an ice-covered vine, there's a little layer of cells of water that don't freeze between the ice and the leaf surface because of the heat given off as water is converted into ice, which sounds weird, but it's true.
Yeah, but so the whole igloo.
The whole
factor
exactly.
works.
Yep.
I remember Far Side where the polar bears are going, oh, look, sandwiches.
It's
You know,
crunchy on the outside,
crunchy on the
soft
outside, that's
inside.
right. Anyway.
So yeah, as long as you keep the sprinklers on. But we've had neighbors where they turn the sprinklers off too soon, and the icicle then hardens, and that freezes the vine immediately. So
I love the way he says neighbors, you know.
Yeah, we've never
that
done
would
that.
never happen to him.
in my career, never done
I
that.
bet you haven't. I bet you
Uh,
haven't. You're a meticulous farmer.
We've made some mistakes. We should have a separate show where we talk about vineyard blunders.
Bloopers?
We
Bloopers.
had one small one, but it was fine.
Yeah,
it
we
worked out
did.
for the best.
Fortunately, it actually worked out well, though, didn't it?
Yes, actually, what happened was that his crew accidentally picked the wrong block. But you know, things happen. Okay, Chris, I'm looking at you.
You're going to be pretending to work there?
You're not pretending to work. What are you doing there?
So that's a brief demonstration of me walking through and looking for extra shoots to remove out of a vineyard. Now, my crew's already gone through. This happened to be
But
a
did
year.
you lose yourself? That's what it looks like.
I know.
Yeah, that's like in fast motion
Where
or
did
something.
I leave
Where
it?
did I leave that
Can't
cell?
have it. Somebody call me.
My ringer's off. Oh
You
my
looked
God.
a little frantic.
Well, you know, I like to set a high standard for moving through the vineyard. No, I was moving extra shoots or suckers, we call them, but technically they're either water sprouts or extra shoots that we don't need. And that's me again demonstrating how we tuck shoots using the wires to move. Now,
Oh, that's
obviously,
great.
this is a completely staged thing, right? I don't actually get to do that very often.
You used to.
I used to. Now I just have to manage 100 people that do that. So, but it's kind of fun to watch, and it's fun to see that, you know, moving one wire can, you know, tuck the shoots of 4 of high vines at the same time. So,
Well, and can you just talk really, really quickly about cover crops, because there's
Sure.
beautiful cover crops in that, and it's
yeah. So, I mean, cover crop is like I used to teach a class, so I got to be careful about like getting on my little invisible lectern and giving you a lecture.
Okay, well, we're fine now. Yeah.
Essentially, cover crops are just, the definition is anything that you plant intentionally in between the rows of a vineyard or any other agricultural crop that has some kind of benefit. And in the case of where we were walking around at Lazy W in that picture there, that's barley and oats, and they are really good at stabilizing the soil from erosion and also good at returning organic matter back to the soil. So organic matter is key for soil health and microbial health and vine health. So they look pretty.
What
but
does mustard do?
it looks cool and it tastes
It
good.
does.
Does it do anything to the soil?
You know, it germinates early, and so it can be a good erosion protection. It's natural in Sonoma County.
It makes the soil sing, I feel pretty, I feel pretty.
Exactly. It can be used in situations where you have nematodes, which are both a positive and a negative microbe in the soil. Some of the mustards that we plant and you till them in, when they decay, they can be hurt or debilitate certain microbes, like nematodes. They're not a fumigant. They don't kill them necessarily, but they can discourage them breeding and feeding. But generally, they look pretty.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Well,
mustard anyway.
But you know, we live in a beautiful area, and people flock here, and they don't need to know that that beautiful mustard is just an ugly old nematode.
It's pretty. It's fun.
It is.
It's
I
natural.
know,
I mean,
I know.
It's,
So what is your what's your favorite part about living in wine country?
my favorite part of living in wine country. Ooh, well, I mean, I live in a rural area, which I really appreciate. I can crank my music, I can play my drums, and not worry about my neighbors. So that's pretty cool.
But yeah, and you also get to come into town. Chris is a local part of a local group that plays regularly downtown Healdsburg. Very impressive.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, I'm close to town, but I mean, the community that we live in, I guess, the area we live in is gorgeous, obviously, but the community we live in, the people, is what makes the place. So, that's the short answer. But yeah, I love living in the country and not having to worry about neighbors and too much traffic. Unfortunately, I live in the country, but real close to town. I can be at my office in 10 minutes. I can be at my closest vineyard in 7 minutes. So that's pretty cool.
Well, and Chris is also an avid fisherman.
Yes, I
We
am.
certainly don't want to give away any of your secret fishing spots, but what is
Nope.
your favorite area in a general sense? Not the secret hole.
Not the secret
to
spot.
fish in, and what is your favorite fish to catch?
Well, I'm a steelhead nut. So
Yeah.
steelhead, I have to fish the time of year when I have time, and usually winter is the time when we have more downtime. Right now, I'm fishing for smallmouth bass in the Russian River. It's a little early, but they're some of my favorite fish. I like to catch everything. I just like to feel the pull. So I don't have any particular species that's like my favorite necessarily, but whenever I can go, I love to fish for trout. I try to get 1 or 2 trips a summer in.
Nice.
Try to get a couple trips with my buddies in the winter for steelhead.
Hey, Betsy, any more questions for Chris?
Well, you didn't answer the question very well, in my opinion,
Uh-oh.
about why it's so great to live in wine country. Do you want to know my answer?
Yes.
Because there is never, ever a dull moment.
That is true. There's a lot to do. I mean,
There is.
this COVID thing has shut that down a little bit, but there's, yeah, I guess I would say, in short, I would say the people and the environment in which we work, we like wine, we like good food, we like good music. We're not too snooty or snotty.
Especially
Either.
with this mask on.
So, I mean,
Perfect.
there are other parts of the country and other parts of Northern California where I cannot say the same thing, let's just say. And so being in Sonoma County, it's more family oriented, more friendly oriented. I mean, the wineries, I mean, you can come here to Selby and you can hang out and taste wine and not feel uncomfortable or having to, pay $30 or whatever,
Oh yeah,
So,
and speaking of family, we're doing a little more wine. I think we have somebody we should toast.
oh
right
yeah, we
now,
need to toast my mom.
who
It's my
hopefully-
mom's birthday
Is
today.
she watching right now?
I hope so.
Okay, well,
Happy
here.
birthday, Mom.
Do you have a toast
we
for her?
won't
Anything else
embarrass
to
her by
say?
telling anybody which birthday it is, other than it's a good one. And thank goodness, Mom, you're still around and still bossing us around and loving us and making meals for us. And yeah, glad to have you.
Well, then here's to everyone's mothers. That's a
Here's to
good way.
moms.
Yeah,
Moms kick
definitely.
ass.
Cheers.
Wait, can I say ass? I
Yes.
said kick ass. There's no
Yes.
bleep. There's no bleep,
Yes. Yes.
right? Can I swear?
So we're wrapping up our happy hour, I believe, and next week's guest is a personal friend of both of ours, Neil Foster.
Neil, hey.
I know. I
Speaking of us-
thought you knew.
I
you
did
know?
not know. No.
Yes.
So that was a good prelude.
Yes, Neil Foster, who is the owner of M.A. Silva. He produces glass and corks. He's from London.
The cork lord.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Say it. He's what
The cork lord.
Yeah, so we will be the Cork Lord, and hopefully Chris will be joining us on the couch with Betsy, because
Well.
a Cork Lord needs a cork.
Oh, all right.
And a little bit of heckling.
Yes, we could be the peanut gallery next week.
Absolutely.
Right on.
So stay tuned. Come back next week for our happy half hour, and all of us will be with the Cork Lord, the one and only Neil Foster.